If I'm being totally honest, I don't really care if people make great art digitally or traditionally. But I am the first one to admit that if someone does art as good as I'm showing you today, purely traditional, there is an added layer of coolness to that. My name's Brant, and this is the third episode of Best Art on Earth, where I help you find all the best art that's happening right now on our planet. And how do you know it's the best? Because I said. But this show isn't just for artists. This is for anybody who wants to understand art better. It's for anybody who wants to understand why and what makes a good piece of art. Today's artist is Attack Peter, or his regular name, Peter Santa Maria, and he makes original block prints. I'm always excited to see the next design that he's making, and when I saw this piece come out, I knew it had to be on the show. So I'm gonna put it on the iPad and I'm gonna break down fundamentally why this art piece works. So we should always start with who the artist is, and this is a big point. Peter is obsessed with monster movies. A lot of his art always has that Godzilla monster movie-esque feel to it. With block print, the first thing that sticks out is that everything is part of contrast. Everything is white, black, positive, negative. That's it. Also, with the lack of color, that means that there's nowhere to hide. Either his design is gonna work or it's not. Every flaw is out for everyone to see. You can't code it with color and just say, oh, it's pretty. So I've got two fundamentals I'm gonna show here to you, but they're both gonna add back up to contrast. First, let's talk about shape. And yes, I tend to start with shape because it's almost like a perfect starting point in a lot of ways, because shape language fuels people's style. Whenever you see somebody use sharp angles like these samurai armor has, and when you see lots of triangles about this, it's supposed to signify that something's predatory or at least just dangerous. Having a piece feel like posed or rigid is a problem I see in a lot of amateur block print. So how does Peter make this character still feel alive? It's with the contrast of the rhythm or the movement of this, you could call it smoke, or you could call it fog or clouds or whatever you want to call them here, breaks up this piece and makes it feel alive. If he hadn't used these forms, it would have made it feel really dead. Let me show you. So I've blocked this over. Let's compare this side to this side. Look how stiff this immediately gets. It immediately makes the character feel almost like a statue, where over here, you have the feeling that this is some kind of undead samurai or something that's coming to life and moving. By adding this movement and these clouds, he is breathing life literally into his design. This all adds up to contrast. Now, this is the part where I have to come out and say, I got something wrong with Peter's the first couple times I looked at it. Usually when you zoom out, you can see what the emphasis is. I got really mad because I felt like there should be some emphasis on the fisherman. And then I had to go back and think, wait, he's a movie monster artist. And then I started to put myself in the piece and realize, oh, if I was some person that was in this piece, I am not looking down here. I am looking right up here at this samurai. Now let's get into what he's doing right for this emphasis. As far as I can tell, right here is where he wants you to look, this T of the face of the samurai. We look for eyes, so that helps. And it's mostly because he's made multiple halos around this face. You have this circle that spins your eye around. You have this crown of stars. You have these horns that send you around. You have the flowing cloud that's coming out of both sides of his mouth. You even have negative space that comes in here and points to his face. Over and over and over, your eye is just spinning in the same spot, so you enjoy the emphasis that he's created. Now, this is one that a lot of people forget, but I'm gonna talk about space. It would be very hard to tell what this is without the space around it. Once you come in this close, it just looks like a huge, busy mess. If you're gonna have a really intense piece with lots of intricate detail, you have to balance that out with space. You have to give people's eye a place to rest. You can also focus and enjoy those details. You can't do that if you're so busy that everything is just up in your face the whole time. Now, the last thing I'm going to mention is texture. These white strips out here aren't Peter being lazy. It's actually a way of him telling you this is done by hand and a way to make it feel more authentic to block prints. I'm going to take out all of the texture on one side and show you how this feels. Okay, so I've removed all of the texture marks that he had over here. And I'll say this, that the word that comes to mind when I look at this is just sterile. It immediately feels like somebody made it in Photoshop. And to me, when I look at this, I realize just how important these lines are. And when you're only dealing with basically 2 colors, you need as much as you can to make people get into the piece of art. Okay, so that's like the initial fundamentals I'm seeing. I have 2 other things to say about this piece of art. I want you to take a second and look at this photo. I screenshotted it from Peter's YouTube channel, which I highly suggest checking out. Look how little he sketches out before he starts carving. Look at that. He barely blocks in the outside shape, and then he just lightly sketches roughly with a white pencil over it. I am in awe that he can make anything look good from that. He just must have a really clear picture in his mind of what he's going for. There's no going back on block prints. If you mess up, you either have to adjust it or start over. There's no do-overs, there's no undo button, there's no eraser on block print. I'll put in the description the video of him making this print if you want to see his process. It's really cool. And second, when you go check out Peter's YouTube channel, I think you're gonna realize, like I did, that not only is he an extremely positive person, but Peter's an extremely genuine person. He's very upfront about his nerdiness, his fan art, his overall love for everything monster movies, his absolute obsession with the color orange, and he apologizes for none of it. And I think that's a lesson that we should all learn. So if you love his art as much as I do, go check him out on social media and his YouTube channel. And between you and me, Peter's just getting started. If you want his work, don't sleep on it. I've been looking at Peter since he was like 5,000 people on Instagram, and it's only grown in the last few years. Here's how I know Peter isn't gonna stop. One of his lifelong dreams was to create toys. Bam, he's making a limited edition toy called Daruma. He's freaking out about it on his social media every day. He's so excited. Thank you, Peter, for letting us check out your awesome art, and thanks to everybody who's enjoying this show. I am in love with it, and I can't wait to show you some more art next week. See you then.